Our next contestant is Geoff Kinsela with his speech, Mentor or Mentee? That is the question. Mentor or Mentee? That is the question. Geoff Kinsela.
Thank you, Tom. Well, first of all, I'd just like to say to everyone here tonight, I'm extremely grateful for you all as you've inspired me on my journey, and you do every day and every evening. So thank you. That's the first thing I want to get off my chest. Tonight, I'm going to ask you a question, and you can only vote once. I'm going to ask you, are you a mentor or are you a mentee? So, the first question is, who here considers themselves a mentee? Yeah, that's a good round of hands. I like it. And who here tonight considers themselves a mentor? Wow. Hold your hands up for a sec, guys. The rest of you guys are so selfish. You're sucking the love out of these guys for $2.50 an evening. That's not very nice. No, to be honest, it was a trick question, and you all got it right and you all got it wrong. Because every one of you in this room is a mentee, and every one of you is a mentor. And you're all adding value. If you're asking a question, you're giving an answer. You're giving a speech, you're giving an evaluation. You're giving value to someone in this room. It doesn't matter if they've been here for 5 minutes or 5 years. You have value to add. Some of you may not realise it. And that was the swim lane that I've been in for a long time. Until recently, I was working on my computer one night, probably doing some expenses or something, way after when I should have been. And I was scrolling through our intranet, and a peer-to-peer mentoring program came up on the computer. And I thought, yeah, it's about time I got into something. I need to do some training. So I've signed up, and they asked me for my weaknesses and my strengths, and I've written down, I'm really good with building customer relationships, thinking on the spot. What else was I doing? It was things like problem solving. And for my weaknesses, I've written down things like focus, setting strategy, and being disciplined, which is quite the opposite to who I really am. So I've entered this program, and I'm going to be great. I'm going to learn some stuff here. I'm psyched. I'm going to be the biggest mentee here. I'm going to take some stuff on board. I'm going to absorb it all. This only got glorified when we had our first meeting, and I was paired up with my buddy, the sourcing manager from Finland. And I don't know if it was a name manager or the fact he was from Finland and Europe, and it just seemed like, the word manager to me was just like, well, there's a manager. I think I'm still the electrical apprentice from, when I started when I was 16. So I had this glorified image of how much I was getting out of this. I'm going to be the mentor. I'm going to learn so much. This guy's going to teach me everything. I'm going to be focused. I'm going to have strategy. I'm going to be disciplined. This is going to be fantastic. And then we got to meet. And the first meeting we had, about 2 weeks in, he's telling me his objectives and his outcomes. And he's just recently moved to the company. And he's in charge of a new group of people that he's never worked with before. And he says, I'm struggling to build relationships. I'm having to make decisions a little bit faster than I'd like. By his own admittance, he's the guy that likes to have every last detailed piece of information before making a decision, even if it's to his detriment. And I'm like, well, that's a coincidence. This guy's the dead opposite to me. I wonder how that works. It's probably part of a mentor program. But anyway, I still thought he was going to teach me. And the weeks went on, and he explained to me a few things, and I was able to give him some examples, because I've been with the company for 13, 14 years, and I gave him some examples of some things that I'd learnt in time. And one of them was, he mentioned journaling. And I said, well, I think you should journal one of two questions. And the first question I want you to journal about, I said, I want you to think about a time when you waited for all the information only to find out the opportunity had passed you by. And how did that make you feel? And he goes, okay. And the second question I asked him to write down, when did you have to make a decision on the fly hands down, you had no choice, you were forced into it, and it came off. You hit the nail on the head and it just worked. And what did you rely on? So he journaled on these two things, and weeks went past and we mentored each other in different ways, and he had a decision to make in less than a day about taking on a temporary employee for 3 months to help with some workload. And he was umming and ahhing, but he thought, I'm just going to do it. I think we need it. I'm going to trust my stomach. And he came to me the next week and we had a meeting and we had a chat, and he goes, Geoff, I did it. And I'm like, wow, this is awesome, you know? And, you know, I learned to be focused and disciplined, and he kept me on track and kept me accountable for what I said I was going to do. But when I got to the end of this program, to be honest, the one thing I found myself being more of a mentor than a mentee, but the one outcome I got from it, I always had this overshadowing cloud of self-doubt. And now I've just burst it. And I'm like, you know what? I've actually got value to add. I've actually got something to give. This is cool. And the reason I tell you this, guys, this story, is because you all got the same value. Every time you come to Toastmasters, every night you rock up, every question you ask, every speech you deliver, if you've been here for 5 minutes or 5 years, you're giving value to someone else here tonight. I want you to feel that. I want you to know it. And I want you to own it. That you are a mentor, not just a mentee. And now I want to ask you another question. And this time, you're allowed to vote more than once. Who here considers themselves tonight a mentee? And who else here considers themselves this evening a mentor? Yeah, wow. How good's that? Who thought for $2.50 we could feed the whole family? Thank you.